Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today. Hello, everyone. My name is Elle Davis, and I am in Chicago, Illinois, in the U.S., and I am super excited to be here. There's so many things when we think about telling our story. There's so much to tell and so many opportunities. And so where I'm going to start, I think, is a very pivotal moment that really highlights part of my career journey as well as my personal journey. So just imagine being in a career that you love, working every day, being super excited about the work that you do, working on behalf of young people, making sure that they have the opportunities and experiences that they need to flourish in this society. And then having a new CEO come into the company or organization and saying that your role is really not important and the work that you do is going to be shifted and changed. And because of that, from this 7-year journey where you have enjoyed absolutely every single moment of your work, where you have developed amazing relationships with the people that you work with, and now you learn that you're going to be laid off. And that journey is just cut short before you even know what to do with it. So that is my story. I worked for Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago, where I loved the work that I did. I enjoyed every single moment of it and met some amazing people who are still friends today. And we had a new CEO that come in and just thought that my role should be something different. And so I got laid off very unexpectedly. I did not see it coming, but I think the most important thing for me is I did not flinch. I said, okay, I'm going to get laid off from this role. I don't know what's next. And one of my previous supervisors called me up and said, hey, I need you to do something. I need you to develop a program for young people for the organization she started. And hence I fell into entrepreneurship. So I tell people all the time, like, I literally fell into entrepreneurship. And so that was the first moment in my life where, as an adult, I remember having to really be resilient and really be intentional about what was happening in the work that I was doing. And then if we fast forward a few years on this entrepreneurship journey, after having gotten married and had a child, and feeling like life was really good, feeling pretty good about where I was, I knew that I wanted to speak. I knew that I wanted to talk more to the masses about the work that I did. So I went to a conference, a 2-day conference, early April 2014. Went to this conference trying to find my speaking voice. What was I going to talk about? I felt like it was something in the youth development world, but wasn't quite sure. And so I left that conference feeling really excited, knowing that I had the platform to be able to do it, but just wasn't sure what the topic was. As fate would happen, only 2 weeks, I don't even know if it was a full 2 weeks after that. Just a couple of weeks after that conference, I woke up. My husband and I are talking about our day, planning our day. My 2-year-old daughter was on spring break. I took her to the Children's Museum that day. And before the next day would strike, my husband unexpectedly passed in his sleep. So here I was, 36 at the time, the mother of a 2-year-old, and had unexpectedly lost my husband. And so while I had dealt with losses before, I just told you about a layoff. This was a loss that I was truly not prepared for and had no idea what to do in the midst of that. And so here I am balancing solo parenting, widowhood, entrepreneurship, and all the things, and trying to figure out my voice in a very different way. And what I did not expect to happen was to find my voice as a widow to support other widows and really give them hope, knowing that they could get to the next level, whatever that next was, after experiencing such a dramatic loss. And so I found my voice through writing a book called The Art of the Bounce Back, where it's not really about the grief journey, but it's really about when life hits you and when it knocks you down, what are some of the things that you can do to truly bounce back? And, I use those principles every single day. It is a book that is a quick read. It's meant for you to practice over a 31-day period and for you to just read a short piece each day. And I, to this day, consistently use some of those things that I put in the book to really bounce back when life knocks us down, because we know that life continues to knock us down. So that is a bit of my story. And here I am 11 years later, after losing my husband unexpectedly, with a 13-year-old beautiful daughter, and still thriving and striving towards greater things in life.
Thank you so much for coming online and sharing your journey with us. It sounds like you have gone through so much in this short life, and everything you've gone through is helping you empower others, though. So you've really transmuted what was a very painful experience into something powerful.
Mhm.
So, how did you find your voice again after experiencing such a deep loss?
So I think it happened immediately. I actually spoke at my husband's funeral. And I think people were like, they were in awe. They were like, how are you standing up there speaking right now? And I felt like I had to. I felt like it was the right thing to do. Um, Knowing the relationship that we had and knowing my husband. So I kind of immediately found it in the sense of wanting to make sure that I did not lay him to rest without giving my version and like my sentiments and my love for him. And then I quite literally was very intentional about finding it in a different way to share out with the world. So I challenged myself to go on social media 31 days in a row. And it was to tell the story, to talk about this notion of resilience. And so I literally pushed myself to use my voice in that way.
Wow, that takes a lot of courage. Now, you say that resilience is a choice.
Mhm.
What does that choice look like in everyday life?
I think it is a choice to get up and take a shower. It is a choice to find joy in the small things. It is a choice to, even when you don't feel like it, cook your favorite meal, right? Even when you say you want to be alone, it's choosing to go out with the friends that invited you. It's choosing to invite people over, even though you feel like you want to keep your space sacred. It is really making that choice to do something different than what your body and your mind is telling you to do.
Mm, that's interesting. We always have a choice. It's up to us to decide to take it or not.
Mhm.
So, what surprised you most about the healing journey?
Ooh, that is a fascinating question.
Mhm.
Um, what surprised me most about the healing journey? I think for me, I actually think because I was so intentional about my healing that and I don't want to say this in a way that's like, it's not that I healed quicker, but I was
Mm,
just so much more aware of like what was going on during the healing process. And so I was in therapy 3 weeks later. I saw a therapist for myself. I saw a therapist for my daughter because I was like, she's 2. I can't send her to therapy. But
no.
I wanted to know and understand the language that I should use with her. And so
Yeah.
that was really important to me. So it was just like, so what surprised me was just the ability to self-regulate and be self-aware of like everything that was going on for me at the time.
Wow. So, how did motherhood influence the way that you processed and rebuilt your life?
Whew, Gertrude, that was a challenge because a toddler, you're a mother, right? So you understand that, when you are raising children, there's a reason that most of us prefer a two-parent household, right? Because it is very challenging raising a child, especially at 2, 3, 4 years old, when they are still processing things. And so more so after Paul's passing, I had to completely think about everything that I did. How much time was it going to take me? Was I going to be able to like get my daughter? Would I have to call on friends or family to pick her up from somewhere? What were
Mm,
all of those things that I was going to need to do as I continued to raise her and still be an entrepreneur, right? Like, and still like now I have to be the sole provider to make sure that she and I had everything that we needed, and did not want to take away from our life. Right, we were living a good life. Not, we're not millionaire status, but we were, just very very happy. And so I am blessed that I've been able to continue to do that and provide a safe space for her and also provide experiences and opportunity for her as well.
And can you share a moment when you realized that you were no longer just surviving,
Hmm.
that you were leading instead?
That is fascinating as well. A moment where I was no longer just surviving. I think when I started to share with other people. So I was very intentional about this journey of being a young Black widow, right?
Mm,
Like being in my 30s as a young Black widow. And I started to hear, and like people would reach out to me and say, "Hey, my cousin just lost her husband. Hey, someone that I go to church with just lost her husband." And I'm like, "What is happening? We are too young for this. Like,
mm, mm,
this is not okay." So
mm,
I intentionally held a widows grief support group virtually. I did it online. And
mm,
when I started talking to other widows, I realized that, I had made different choices because while my heart still hurt, I operated in a way that the hurt was not the primary emotion that came through.
yeah.
Right. And I was like, oh, I'm in a different space. I've been able to process this in a different way and really navigate this so that I can use my voice and also help other women and make sure that they are good. Um,
Mhm,
and so that I realized it during that first widows grief support group. I was like, this is different. I'm coming in with a different vantage point, with a different mindset than some of these women. And I'm
mm.
grateful to say that many of them circle back and say, thank you for hosting that space because I didn't know how much I needed that kind of space.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, what lessons has loss taught you about authentic leadership?
Oh, number one, it is really what is so simple, and we say it all the time, but people don't operate in this space. Is really be authentic. Right? Like it is show up as your full true self. We
Yeah.
are all individuals. We all come from different places, different value system, different experiences, but bring that to what you do. I don't hide who I am. I do facilitation on a regular basis for leadership development. I always open with being a widow, not because I want people to feel sorry for me, not because I want people to, like wallow in that story, but it's because I need people to know and understand the reason that I show up in the way that I do is because I'm a widow, right? And so
Yeah.
I lead the way that I do. I talk the way that I do. I'm intentional the way that I am because I know what it means for life to not be promised and be next moment. I literally laid down with my husband and he was gone an hour later. Life does not get more real than that.
That's so real. And you realize how fragile life is and how brief it is as well.
Absolutely.
So, how do you balance strength and vulnerability while building others through pain?
I am I'm a social worker by training, right?
Okay.
I went to school for social work, so my heart is always on my sleeve, right? And so with that, what I have found is I like to encourage people and let them know that in those moments where they think it's weakness, like they think tears are weakness or they think the emotion is weakness, I actually remind them that that's the strength,
Mm,
right? Like we are human beings. We are not supposed to walk around like robots without emotion. We are
yeah.
not supposed to say that things don't impact us or affect us. They absolutely do. When we lose a job, when we lose a person that we love, whether it's a spouse, a parent, a child, a friend, right? A relative, a sibling, whoever it is, we still have to go on with life. We still have to go back to work. We still have to do the volunteer work. We still have to parent. We still have to show up in all of these roles. And that doesn't mean that you show up without your emotion. No, you bring your emotion to that and you
Yeah.
let people know I am not okay today. I do
Yeah.
not feel good. I am hurting. That is strength.
Yeah. That is so, so true.
And so I like to just encourage people with that, like leading with that, because what it does is it gives other people permission to then also do the same thing.
Same. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, you founded the Art of the Bounce Back. What does bounce back mean to you now?
It's here. I'm gonna grab something that's sitting here on my desk,
Mm,
and um, this is a little squishy. These little toys here. My daughter used to always play with these little toys. And what they do is like if you squeeze it with your hand, it like goes into hiding, right? Like it's no longer there. And one of the things that I appreciate about this squishy is hidden. And sometimes when we get knocked down, this is how we feel. We feel like hidden, unseen. Nobody knows what's happening. But really, when we're able to bounce back, when we're able to navigate life and like go to therapy, do the healing, do the journaling, talking to the friends and family, when you release it, it slowly starts to come back up. Now, it
mhm,
doesn't come back up without bruises. So here it's kind of maybe
mm,
kind of hard to see, but it has a few bruises here and there. That's us. We are bruised, but we can
mm,
come back. We can rise again. That may mean that we are slightly different in the person that we are, right? We've learned things, we've taken things from that job or from that loss. And now we're like, how do I apply that to this new part of me? We literally change every single day. Every single one of us are changed by the experiences that happen to us every single day.
yes.
So on a daily basis, we have to sometimes figure out how to bounce back, even when life is really good. Like
Yeah.
even when we're experiencing things that are great, we still either hear or see something else happening in the world. And so we're constantly trying to figure out what bouncing back. So it's really like getting back up on your feet, even if you're hobbling, even if you might be hobbling around a little bit, you might be limping a little bit. All of those things may happen, but you can still move and continue to go.
Love it. So, what role did faith and spirituality play in your recovery and growth?
It was everything. My husband died during what we call Holy Week. My church, the church that we attended, is still the church that I attend today, was it's this has never happened before in all of the years that I attended this church. It was open 24 hours around the clock. So after like the coroners came and like we're like sitting in the house in silence, one of my friends was here, one of my really good friends, and she's like, what do you need? What do you want to do? And I said, I want to go to the church. And she was like, what? It was like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. She was like, you want to go to the church? I said, the church is open. I want to go to the church. We get to the church. I go into the sanctuary and I just lay out. And I cried like a baby. I just released everything that was on the inside of me. And this is hours after finding my husband. This is hours. And in that moment, I was just like, one of the things that I always say is that my husband died with too much on the inside of him. So one of the things I said, and I promised in that moment, is I said, God, whatever you give me, I will give it back to the world. Whatever you put in me, I will put it out back into the world. And so sometimes I feel like people think that I'm a little crazy because it's like, I'm doing this. I wrote a book. I do resilient leadership work. I designed a coloring book for kids. Like all of these things that I did. And they're just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, God gave it to me. So I'm doing it. And so I prayed my way through many days. My church family showed up in huge ways. And I was very honest and real that God, this was unfair. This is not the way that I set my life up. And so I was angry with God for quite some time, but I also still remained steadfast to my faith, knowing and recognizing that that is one of the reasons that I am standing today and that I am sitting in front of you, able to tell this story and talk it through.
So, what can other women do to turn their challenges into platforms for change?
Gertrude, it's a choice. It's a choice.
Beginning, yeah.
It's a choice to decide what it is. How do you want to tell your story, right? We're all meant to tell it in a different way. I believe that we go through challenges and we go through life so that we can share with others. Our heartache, our pain is not meant for just ourselves. It is meant for us to tell other people, because when people go through things, they feel like they are the only ones. They feel like they don't have anyone else to talk to about it or who has experienced it. And that is just not true. We all have pain. And so it's a decision. Do you want to write about it? Do you want to talk about it on a podcast or in videos? Do you want to write poetry about it? Do you want to write short stories? Do you want to just write short vignettes on social media? Do you want to interview other people? What we have in a world like today, where social media there's so many different platforms, you can absolutely choose which platform is for you to begin. And you can start personally. That's the other thing. You may want to write, but you may not want to share it with the world. That's fine. You don't have to.
Choice, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I could talk to you forever on this topic. It's just incredible what you have managed to do with your pain and how it's uplifting and inspiring so many women now. You really have transmuted it. So what advice would you give to someone who feels like they've lost everything and they will never bounce back?
Mhm. Yeah, I think that that's real. I think some people definitely feel like that. And I think the first thing that I will say is, because as much as I believe in therapy, I know that everybody is not ready for therapy or does not trust therapy. So I recognize that. So I say, like, find your one person. Like, everybody has at least one person.
Mhm.
Find, whether it's a family member, a friend, like, find that one person that you could at least share and say, and let them know, I
Yeah.
feel like this is, I've hit the bottom and I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
But then you have to be open to whatever they share with you. Everybody's not going to get it right. They may not, they may tell you something and you may be like, that's the craziest thing in the world. But
Yeah.
trust them in helping you. You have to open your heart for help in a way
Mhm.
that you probably never have before.
Yeah, you have to be open to receive whatever is coming. Now, how has your definition of success evolved through this experience?
Ooh. Listen, Gertrude, I love these questions. These these are great. My definition of success is really about those things that are really near and dear to my heart, of actually seeing them into fruition. And so,
Yeah.
for example, for many years, this is, so I tell you, I've been a widow for 11 years. One of the things that I wanted to do was curate a widow's exhibit. And I didn't really know what that meant or what that looked like, but what I knew is, like, I wanted these portraits of widows, and I wanted their stories to be told, and I wanted them to have, like, artifacts that represented their marriage or their spouse. And
Okay.
for the 10-year anniversary of my husband's passing, I did that. I curated an exhibit. It ran for 5 weeks at a gallery here in Chicago. Um,
Okay.
I had over 200 people attend at some point in time, either the opening or the closing, with activations. It was amazing. That is success, right? It wasn't something that made me money, but it was something that made community. It was something that people that had not had previous experience with widows came out and saw it in a different light. There were widows that founded and came who said that they didn't have anybody to talk to when they became a widow, and they didn't, so it brought something very different. That is success. The way that I've
Mm.
transitioned my business. For many years, I wrote grants for nonprofit organizations. I couldn't do that anymore during the pandemic. I was grant writed out. Like, I just was like, I can't write another grant.
Yeah.
I transitioned to leadership development. I am doing some amazing work with nonprofit organizations in that way. So it is, like, making sure that all of those things that, you come out. I'm a child of experiencing AI and testing out AI. I used AI to design a coloring book. Who would have thought that I could have did that 5 years ago? Not
So
me.
easy. Yeah, that is just amazing. You have evolved. So let's end our interview with a couple of last questions that are a bit of a thought experiment.
Okay.
In the first one, I'm going to teleport you back to that young woman who lost her husband, lost everything in that experience. If you could go back and give her three nuggets of wisdom
Oof.
based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those three nuggets of wisdom be?
Wow. Three nuggets of wisdom to the 36-year-old me. Be patient. I would definitely tell her to be patient, to be open to help in all forms, in all ways that it comes, because you never know where your help is going to come from. You never know what you really need, but just be open in all ways that it comes. And then finally, I think I would say, is to truly know that while you've lost your love and you've lost your partner, that life can still be really good. And it's all about what you make it. And so choosing to live life fully in all the experiences is really an amazing thing. And so be open for that as well.
That's beautiful. Last question is futuristic, and I'm going to teleport you to go and meet the 90-year-old you.
Oh, wow. I've gone from 36 to 90. Okay.
She is sitting in her rocking chair, surrounded by her children, her grandchildren, or maybe she's on a dance floor with science and technology. I can see you dancing somewhere. If we could teleport into the future to go and meet this wise woman that led you up until this point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her?
I will say that you have done good work. You have changed lives because you chose not to stay quiet and because you've chosen to use your voice. Continue to use your voice into the very last breath that you take in your body, because other women needed to hear your story and see your strength. You've done a good job.
Absolutely beautiful. Now, is there anything I should have asked you and I didn't? You got emotional there. You connected with her.
I think the biggest thing is really around the support system, right? It's like, how do people really support people through their loss, through job loss, through family loss? And the biggest thing that I will say there is, one of my friends came to my home and she was like, "This is devastating and I have no idea what to say, but I am here." And I think that that's the biggest thing. People are always looking for the right words. Don't try to find the right words. Just show up. Show up, be there. We know the basics. We know people need to eat. We know people want a clean home, right? So keep those things in mind. Like, right, if you can get a housekeeper for the person, get the housekeeper. If you can make sure that they have groceries in their home or just food delivery so that they don't have to think about that. Yeah. Those are like the immediate things. And do periodic check-ins, because everybody's there the first week, the first month.
Yeah.
But month 6,
everybody cares out.
7, month 8, a year later, and even 5 years later, and even 10 years later, people still need support.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience with our community today. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to help take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you have experienced great loss and you feel like you are in the middle of a fog right now, reach out to people who can help you. Ella is here. I have a website at the bottom of the screen. Don't try and do it alone. Or if you know another woman who is going through this challenge, please share this podcast. Put the link to as many friends as you know who need the help and the support. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And thanks again for the interview. Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates, and join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.